So, welcome to episode 6 of our Monstera Deliciosa series. I am Meg of Plants ni Meg. And if this is your first time on this channel, welcome. And if Monstera Deliciosa brought you here, I have an entire playlist of Monstera Deliciosa videos. I'm gonna link it in the description box below. So, yeah, I've been doing this for the past few weeks. Mainly because on Instagram, I'm also on Instagram. On Instagram, people often ask me about this particular plant. So I thought, I even thought to write template answers, and I realized, hey, why not come back to YouTube and just film everything and create a series? So that's what I've been doing the past few weeks. So I talked about varieties, I talked about potting medium, I talked about light, and today we're gonna be talking about water. So what I want to discuss are watering tips that you don't usually hear about. So that's because you can easily get that from the internet and read about it. So I want to talk about watering tips that I learned through the years that I wish somebody shared to me earlier. A little bit of a disclaimer, I am not an expert. I do not do this for a living. I'm a hobbyist, and I have had the experience to take care of Monstera Deliciosa the past few years, maybe. At this stage, I have maybe less than 20 pots, but because some of them I have rehomed, some of them have gone to heaven. But through time, maybe I have had a chance to take care of around 30 or more pots of Monstera Deliciosa. So, I just want to share the stuff I learned. And also the tips that I will share, this would be general concepts, okay? So, I don't want to spoon feed you with, very specific things, because your environment is different from my environment, your preferences are different from mine. So it's something that you have to grow an instinct for, and something you have to adjust through time. So actually, that's the beauty of taking care of plants. You get to know your plants, and it gets personal, and it's beautiful. Yeah, what I'm gonna share are how not to water your Monstera Deliciosa. So we're gonna go a little bit in depth. Okay, so tip number 1: don't treat your Monstera like a cactus. So at this stage, I know that if you're taking care of a Monstera Deliciosa or considering one, you probably know that one of the major causes of Monstera Deliciosa death is root rot. That is very true. They are very prone to root rot, and I have lost Monstera Deliciosas, because of root rot. I have encountered a lot of people who are so scared of root rot that they become so conservative with watering because they're so scared of overwatering. But if you think about it, although Monstera Deliciosas are very forgiving actually with underwatering, let's consider its environment in the wild. A cactus, it's used to dry and arid environments, and very hot and very dry. Can I say dry again? And Monstera Deliciosas, they come from rainforests, and the operative word is rain. So they have access to water all the time, if not from rain, from the constant humidity around them. They're epiphytes, by the way, so they can get water from the air through their aerial roots. So that's a big difference. I also read on a website, exoticarainforest.com, that they are usually found near bodies of water, the Monstera Deliciosa. So you would see that they actually, they thrive in a place where there's a lot of water, and they have access to water all the time. It makes you wonder, why would water kill it, diba? Just imagine, in the wild, they're usually growing on trees and as hemiepiphytes or epiphytes. So When it rains, water just flows through them, through the roots, through the air roots, and it doesn't stay. Diba? When it rains, it just, it passes, it comes and it goes, and so quickly. It will moisten everything, but it's not gonna stay there for so long. It's not something that would suffocate the roots. Like I mentioned on my potting mix video, they like air on the roots there. They like oxygen around the roots. So that's very important to note. So what would kill your Monstera Deliciosa per se is not the water, but the fact that, when water stays too long, or the water makes the medium so compact that the roots become so suffocated, that would cause root rot. So let's just, move on to number 2. Don't let your plants sit in water. That's very basic. So I just want to touch up on that. A lot of plants actually don't like to sit in water. So you might have heard about this tip before. How would a plant sit in water if it doesn't have proper drainage? So check your pots. There are pots that have drainage holes, pero kung isa lang or it's just so small, make sure the holes are sufficient and you have more than one, because sometimes when that one hole gets clogged, you wouldn't notice it, but water is already building up inside the pot. Another reason is when the medium is too heavy. So I showed you on another video, my previous Monstera video, that I like to use airy and loose medium. So if you're heavy on the soil, if you're heavy on the clay stuff, what happens is when water binds to that medium, sometimes it becomes so compact that it just suffocates the roots, and the roots, they don't get access to oxygen and air, and that's gonna start root rot as well. Another is using catch plates. So it's okay to use catch plates, just make sure that you always drain them. Like I said, it's not water per se that's gonna kill your Monstera Deliciosa. It's, I guess, the manner or it's the fact that you would let water stay too long. It can also actually encourage fungus. It can encourage bad bacteria to grow if it's constantly soaking wet. Ayun. So tip number 3, don't water superficially and evenly, or don't rely on just spraying. Roots, they tend to move towards water. They seek moisture, they seek water. So if you constantly just water the surface of your medium, they don't find any reason to move downwards. And since the bottom part of your pot doesn't get watered frequently, it would also dry up, like super dried up. So what would happen is if you just miss 1 or 2 watering, it can easily dry up, as opposed to encouraging deep rooting. So if you water deeply, the roots would go deeper. So even if you miss a few watering and the top part of your pot dries up, it's okay. It's getting moisture down under. Some would prefer that they don't water na lalabas yung water until the water drains out of the hole. I like doing that because I'm sure that everything is covered, but just make sure everything is deeply watered. You don't have to be so stingy in giving it water. If you're worried of root rot, you can water more infrequently, but make sure when you water it deeply. Hindi yung frequent pero mabababaw lang, because the roots might not grow and develop and become deeper and healthier. And tip number 4, don't rely on a watering schedule. In an ideal environment, maybe, and everything is constant, then I suppose you can stick to a schedule or you know your plan so much. But the thing is, seasons change. So, for example, on rainy seasons, not only is it always wet outside and the air is always humid, and there's also the factor of light. So if your plant is not getting enough light, it means it will also not need much water, because when a plant makes food, it needs both light and water. So if you take one away, it's not gonna need this. So, ang mangyayari, maiipon lang yung water kasi hindi na utilize ng plant. The plant won't be able to use the water when it's not getting much light. You have to learn about your plant's needs as the season changes. In hot seasons, in summer, actually, I live in Pampanga, so it's Central Luzon. It's very hot here. It's an agricultural area. It's the plains. I have a friend who actually waters her plants twice a day. And if I could, if I have the energy, I would do that when it's very, very hot, because my plants would appreciate that. But if you do that, say in Baguio, if you water twice a day, it's gonna kill your plants, right? So there are so many factors to it, and it, you know, the temperature changes every day, the sun moves. You have to, you know, you really have to listen to your plant more than just creating a schedule for it. There are a few techniques, of course. Some like to use moisture meters. Sorry, moisture meters. So I have one somewhere. Pero if you want something to spread, you can use your finger. When I keep my plants indoors, sometimes I would bring a Monstera inside just because I like to see it. And when I keep it inside, I don't water it frequently. So I would stick my finger, and if it's moist, siguro yung mga 1/3 of the pot, ganyan, I'm just not gonna water it. Yeah. Because the bottom part is still moist anyway. Some would know their plant too well that titignan lang nila just by looking at the medium. They already know that the plant needs water. Some would carry it. They would know the feeling of how, you know, how heavy it is when it's well watered and how light it is when it's not. So it's really getting to know your plant. I like using barbecue sticks as well, because you can see, diba, when the medium kind of sticks there. Barbecue stick. For me, personally, if you ask me, I water my Monstera Deliciosas every day. This is something I don't recommend for everyone. It just so happens that I like to use very, very fast-draining media because I don't want to be always nervous of overwatering. And also, I keep my Monstera Deliciosas outside, so when it rains, I don't want to worry about them. That's why I use fast-draining medium. So, you know, the downside of fast-draining medium, it also dries up quickly. And I also live, as I mentioned, in Pampanga, and it gets very hot. So when it's not raining, I water every day. When it's super, 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 super hot, sometimes twice a day. When it's raining, of course, I don't water. When, you know, it rains for a few days straight, I skip a day or two after the rains just to give them time to kind of dry up a bit. So yun, diba? It's something that you can't schedule daily. So tip number 5, don't forget about the rest of the plants. So when I keep my plants indoors, I like to water them outdoors or in the bathroom, so I can give them a good shower, because they tend to accumulate dust, and dust can actually kind of block the parang pores nila, the stomata. And also, you know, you can dislodge possible pests So I like to give it a good shower when I water it. When you do this, make sure it's during the day because they get more time to dry up. Let them dry in a very airy area. If possible, in a shaded area outdoors or near a window where it gets good air circulation, because if you don't, it might get, it might grow bacteria and fungus. While it's good to give them a good shower, if they stay moist for too long, they can develop leaf blight or fungal infection. So I hope this helped. Like I mentioned, hindi ito very specific. It's not gonna spoon feed you on what to do. Because honestly, there is no one specific rule for all monsteras. It's just a matter of getting to know your plant and how it's like in the wild and how you can adapt this in your environment, and also syempre considering your preferences. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you still haven't, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button. And if you have friends who are struggling with their Monstera Deliciosas, don't forget to share the playlist and they might learn something. Yun, thank you so much for watching. Bye!